So, Mica, thanks for being with us this week. We have Democrats in the House Select Committee on the January 6th attacks. They're having surprise guests, surprise witnesses coming in to talk about Jan 6. And yesterday, we had Cassidy Hutchinson, a former Mark Meadows aide, who claims that she saw, or claims that someone told her that President Trump, attacked a Secret Service agent and also demanded to be driven up to the Capitol on Jan 6. Tries to seize the wheel of the presidential limo. What were some reactions? You've been covering this on the Hill. What were some reactions to that testimony they had yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. So Cassidy Hutchinson came in as kind of the Democrats' star witness. A lot of people on social media and in the Democratic Party are saying that these are very strong, allegations against the president, which they are. But Republicans are saying that a lot of her testimony was based on hearsay. So I think that there's a lot of discrepancy there on, the credibility of what we're hearing from her. But obviously, there's also some former Trump officials, such as Mick Mulvaney, for example, who said he personally knows her. He doesn't think she's lying. And this could be that yesterday was a very bad day for the president, who clearly also pushed back on some of the allegations against him.
Mm-hmm. Do you think this is really going to change anything, this testimony? Do you think, what does it change for Trump? What's he thinking here? Any insight into that?
I think we're going to continue to see a lot of pushback from the former president. He, laid out a series of statements on his social media platform, Truth Social, about how he didn't know her, how she was a disgruntled employee who asked for a job, after his tenure as president. So we'll see increased pushback, I think. And then, what the former president and his allies have been doing is just putting out counter messaging as well, and giving examples of Democrats and some of the discrepancies that they've had in these hearings as well.
Sure. And this committee, if you've been watching the hearings, online or, on cable news, it's got some production value to it. They've got James Goldston, who's a former president of ABC News. He's, producing these hearings. It's almost, theatrical in a way that they're trying to, promote this. Do you think that's kind of like a line of attack that a lot of Republicans are taking here, saying this is a show trial rather than this is really trying to get to the bottom of things of what actually happened on January 6th? What have Republicans kind of been saying there?
Yeah, certainly. Republicans think that that's a key example of how this is really just for ratings and kind of this more presentation rather than actually being about facts and what they're finding out. But on the other side of that, I do think that there's a lot to be said about Democrats wanting a lot of viewers and attention on this so they can kind of unveil some of the new information that they presented in their nearly year-long investigation into the Capitol riot.
Yeah, sure. And it's almost as if, this is my opinion on it, that these hearings were going on. They were kind of tanking in ratings for a little bit. And then it almost got overshadowed, I think, by the news about, Roe v. Wade being struck down. And I think yesterday they kind of, the Democrats kind of got back on their feet there with this witness, at least, made some headlines with it, regardless of whatever the truth is there. It's kind of, they made a comeback there. But I've got to think, what do Dems actually want to get out of this hearing? Is this to, actually get to the bottom of things? Is this to get, people to not pay attention to, the kind of failed Biden agenda? Is it to try to get people to the polls? What do you think the Democrats' end game is with this House Select Committee?
So members of the committee are saying that this is really about just unveiling, what happened that day, getting the facts out, what they learned, hearing from new witnesses, and just trying to figure out, the pathway forward as well, and as well as holding people accountable for who may have been involved in the Capitol attack. But a lot of them have said that this isn't really about, criminal prosecutions or anything like that. Republicans have begged to differ, given that they have made criminal referrals to the Justice Department, but they're really saying that this is just about figuring out how the event occurred and why this security was breached. But Republicans meanwhile have painted this largely as an election issue and one that's largely to be overshadowed by other issues. You mentioned abortion, even guns, and inflation and rising crime, which are still top of mind for voters.
Sure. Yeah, well, we'll have to see how that actually plays out. But Mica, thanks for joining us this week. Really, thanks for the update on what is actually happening with the January 6th committee. Thanks.
Thank you.